Sometimes virtue signaling is harmless, right? It's like, oh, virtue signal makes me feel good about myself, but it doesn't really do damage to other people. But sometimes virtue signaling is quite literally dangerous and deadly. And this is a perfect example of that. So going back a couple months, we've been talking about totally manufactured controversies around the flock camera system. So the first time we brought this up was when the city of Auburn, which if you're not familiar is south of Seattle, on October 21st came out and said it was going to suspend its use of the flock system. And this is basically like an automated camera system license plate reader that helps local law enforcement agencies fight crime. It's really a great supplement for, especially in a state like Washington, departments that are low on officers. You got this camera system that can do a lot of the difficult work for you. So the city of Auburn came out and said its police department did not knowingly allow federal immigration enforcement agencies to access the city's flock camera system. But there was a report that came out that said U.S. Border Patrol had gained entry through a national data sharing feature. According to Auburn officials, the access occurred through Flock's national lookup tool, which allows agencies across the country to share license plate data. The city said it immediately turned off the feature once it became aware that it could have allowed unintended federal access. So, we're in this heated political climate. We're in a very blue state, very blue area of the state. And so Auburn has this flock camera system. Turns out Border Patrol had accessed it a couple times because they had the feature turned on where other agencies couldn't come in and access information. So as a result, they turned it off. And that decision on October 21st came less than 2 months after the Auburn Police Department was out talking in the news about how useful the flock system had been in helping them fight crime. This was an article from King 5 News that was published August 29th. Auburn's license plate reading cameras already a, quote, huge help to detectives, police say. The department had installed 20 cameras built by Flock Safety to help solve and reduce crime. So August 29th, oh my gosh, this camera system is so great. We're solving and reducing crime, A+. 2 months later, oh my God, Border Patrol used it a couple times. It's time to freak out and panic. And that freak out and panic is contagious. And what I'm going to illustrate for you is an example of how virtue signaling over something like the lawful enforcement of our nation's immigration laws can actually have a profound impact on public safety right here in our communities. So as all of this is happening, and I just feel the need to reiterate the importance of this flock camera system and how it is being used, this is really important, it is being used to do the exact thing that Democrats have wanted police departments to do. Be more hands-off with criminals. Use less force. Not engage in high-speed pursuits. This state went through a years-long battle over high-speed police pursuits. Democrats passed a law saying we don't want police engaged in high-speed pursuits. What happened? It led to this massive uptick in stolen vehicles, other violent crime, because people flee law enforcement when they're fleeing from violent crime. It was a whole huge mess. They rolled it back a little bit. But now you have these technologies like drones and the flock camera system that can not only help low-staffed police departments by acting as, a set of eyes out there on the road, but they can also take police a little further out of a situation so crime can be resolved without high-speed pursuits, without the need so often for police force. And that happened just this week in Puyallup. Puyallup Police Department had just put out this video saying that the flock camera system, in combination with the drone that they have, helped them locate, pursue, and ultimately arrest a suspect in a stolen vehicle without having to engage in a high-speed chase. Again, the very thing that Democrats have been calling for. They used flock and the drone to take a suspect into custody using limited force, limited danger to the community. And this is a guy who stole one car. Then he crashed it, tried to steal another car that had 2 kids in it. So that's great, right? Everyone should celebrate that. Not only did they not have to engage in a high-speed pursuit, got eyes on this person, flock system helped them identify the license plate of the stolen vehicle, send in the drone, track him, able to arrest him. And this is a dangerous dude. He's not just stealing cars and taking them for joyrides. This is a dude who tried to steal a vehicle with 2 kids in it. So that is the value of the flock camera system. But of course, virtue signaling comes first. Above all other considerations. So all of that backdrop takes me to the city of Redmond. So on Monday, there were 3 instances allegedly involving immigration enforcement in the city of Redmond. The city put out on X, the Redmond Police Department is aware of 3 instances of immigration and customs enforcement activity that occurred within the city of Redmond on Monday, November 3rd. The police department was not informed in advance of these operations, and the department does not participate in or cooperate with immigration-related enforcement actions. Upon becoming aware of the activity, Redmond police officers verified the authenticity of the law enforcement agents involved and confirmed they were federal agents. Once verified, Redmond police had no further involvement. So they put this out, but of course, virtue signaling. This triggered people who are angry about ICE and immigration efforts. And in Redmond, you have a city council that has gone very far to the left. So they summoned the chief of police for the Redmond Police Department to come before the city council and, I don't know, like answer for immigration agents being lawfully in the city, carrying out immigration efforts. But one of the things that came up is the fact that the city of Redmond uses this flock camera system. And apparently these city council members were familiar with some of the other headlines that resulted from virtue signaling and fear mongering over, oh my gosh, maybe the flock camera system is going to be used by ICE. And so one of the councilwomen women asked the chief of police, okay, well, are you guys allowing ICE to use, you might not be on the ground helping them, your officers, with federal immigration enforcement, but are you allowing them to access our flock database?
Was any of the data from our systems used in these contacts?
Absolutely not. None of our data has been received by any outside entity.
End of story, right? Okay, great. No, of course not. They decided to shut down the flock system in Redmond anyway, at least temporarily, while they look into it further. Because of what? This is the city of Redmond put this out. After a recommendation from City Council on November 3rd, the Redmond Police Department has suspended operation of its automated license plate reader system, also known as the flock cameras. Access to the system has disabled pending further review by the council. So not just, I don't know, disabled or you tell Border Patrol, whatever it is, hey, you can't use our system. No, disabled across the city. And this is a city that has been having a startling rise in crime per capita. They have a higher than average, the national average, crime rate in the city of Redmond. Like many areas in our state, we have the lowest number of police officers per capita. These cameras are helpful. The chief of police stood in front of the city council and said, no, there's no instances of federal agents using these systems to be able to carry out federal immigration enforcement. But they said, we don't care because virtue signaling. We want a virtue signal to our community. And Nicole was watching this meeting. And this is probably one of the most unhinged things you'll see on the internet today. So there's a city council member, I'm going to butcher her name, but Angela Nueva Casima. And she was, again, questioning the chief of police about his non-helping ICE. It's a sanctuary state. Police can't help ICE. They don't help ICE. Their system isn't being used to help ICE. But this council member has to take things a step further. And she's basically demanding to know, well, if the chief of police, not only it's not enough for you to not help ICE, we want you to actively hinder ICE. And if you don't do it, then citizens should do it. This is a startling exchange. Watch.
While your department will not do anything to cooperate with ICE, there's also nothing that your department can do to intervene.
Correct. They are operating under federal law and federal authority, and federal law and authority supersedes that of a local jurisdiction. So we would not be able to interfere or intervene in their particular operations.
And we've seen in other communities where it's been the community then taking it upon themselves to essentially fight back against ICE in their communities. So basically what we're letting our community know is, hey, from a city perspective, we really can't do anything, and it's upon you then to stand up and fight back against ICE in our communities.
I can't support or advocate for that. We are here to keep the peace. Individuals have a right to, I'll say, conduct themselves in the manner they see fit, but we cannot support or advocate for, I'll say, violence or fighting against federal agents. Our role is to keep the peace.
But the peace has already been broken, Chief.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the mindset we're working with, where you'd have a city council member in a city that's dealing with an uptick in crime. And her concern is that the police force, the local police force, is used. She wants them to interfere with federal immigration efforts. And if they don't, she's basically warning the chief, then the citizens are going to step in and do it for you. Paging the Department of Justice, as one of our viewers wrote, are you flocking kidding me over this whole situation? And it's laughable, but it's also dangerous. The example I just gave of what happened in Puyallup. I mean, textbook what Democrats have been asking police to do. But now, because there are a couple cities that are saying this flock camera system could maybe be utilized by the feds, what do you think's going to happen? It's going to start to be turned off city by city by city, because that's what happens. That's how stupidity snowballs. We've seen it many times before. The police defunding movement. One random activist brings it up, defund the police, creates a slogan, and then all of a sudden, city by city by city, state by state, the idea begins to be mainstream because so many people have said it, so we must say it too, because we want to prove that we're woker than the next city over. The city of Redmond has no legitimate cause or concern about the flock camera system being utilized by immigration agents. But they were triggered by the presence of immigration agents in their community, so they want to look like they're doing something and being tough on Donald Trump. So they turn off a camera system that their police department is using actively to help keep citizens safe. They're punishing citizens because of their TDS. That's really what it is at the end of the day. Imagine in Puyallup if the city of Puyallup didn't have the flock system. Well, a couple things would have happened. They probably wouldn't have identified, using that system and the automated cameras, the vehicle, the stolen vehicle that was fleeing. So wouldn't have even sent up a drone in the first place. And that individual, once he crashed his car, would have been able to be free to go on and steal another vehicle. Remember, he tried to steal a vehicle with kids in it. Maybe those kids would be dead. Maybe he would have killed people that night. Also, these local city councils can virtue signal their dislike for Donald Trump. So you will hurt your communities. You would be, like, literally, you're okay if people die. I've said this a million times about so many different facets of how Democrats fight back against Donald Trump. Like, they'll do it even if it means their own citizens and constituents die as a result. It is so wild. It is the snowballing of stupidity. And we're going to see this happen with more police departments, more cities, without any cause at all. And to eliminate the entire system. And in some of these areas like Auburn has a severe crime issue. They have a severe gang violence issue. But it's like, well, we'll let people shoot each other and die, and these young black men shoot each other and die. So to show people that we won't cooperate with Donald Trump. It's the most insane thing. Stop voting for these people. Stop voting for people who would watch you die, who would let criminals kill you, to virtue signal over the occupant of the White House.